Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Rated Puzzles Grind on chess.com. Actually feeling quite tired today. It's been a long day and I also played 5 10-minute rapid games, and before that I hadn't played any games this week, and luckily I managed to win 4 of these 5 games, and in the one I lost it was actually a winning or drawn endgame, but I just hung my rook and I just lost. So yeah, don't hang your rooks, guys, and remember to play quickly if you're low on time. But I mean, when you're low on time, it's difficult to play correctly. So yeah, bad stuff happens. Just keep going and don't let it affect you too much. So I might not be the sharpest today in the puzzles, but as always, I'll try to solve them as quickly as possible and then go more in depth about the solutions. So let's begin. So this move just looks like the only move which is just good, but maybe I'm missing something. Alright, so why is this check incorrect? Because, yeah, wait, I still can see it. If I go here, he takes. Wait, what else do I have? Maybe something like this to threaten that, but he could just bring his rook in, right? But then I would go here. He would still just escape. Oh, he couldn't escape because I would take the rook. But he could just block. So this is confusing. Maybe I... No, but this doesn't make sense. He would just take. If I could somehow block this rook, then I could go here, and that would be the only move, and then this would be mate. But that rook is a problem, and if I go here, he just takes. Or even takes with the pawn, and then he can probably escape somehow. So I must be missing some crazy move. Maybe I push the pawn and then I try to block with another push, but doesn't that give him time to run? No, because I collect the rook, so this might be it. Right, and the whole plan is to block. Yeah, to block, but actually, if I did this, he would have... Yeah, he wouldn't have much, because he would be in check, actually. Right. So maybe this is just it. He has to take, and then I take again. Wow, so this is quite complex. Wow, 2.7% pass rate. It's quite low. I mean, very low, but yeah, so it's quite complex. But yeah, this move is just good. And now I suppose the problem is that if I go here, then sure he goes here. I go here, and I take the rook. But I suppose I can just mate him because if I push, if he tries to run, then wait, does he just escape? I mean, I still have this move. He has to go down. But then I'd have this pawn push. And he would have to go here. Yeah, I think he would just escape, so this is quite tricky actually. Yeah, what if he just runs? Apparently I played this. Let's say he does something like this. Oh, what am I saying? This is just mate. Wow, if he just tries to run, then yeah, actually he can't get off the back rank. But if he does it here, yeah, he can't get off the back rank, and so if he does whatever, this is just mate. And the only way to avoid mate is to do something crazy. Yes, like, yeah, like whatever, and it's just mate. So wow, it's quite complex. You have to think like to block this rook from defending, and you can do it like this, and the only way he doesn't get mated if he sacrifices quite some material, and then it's just somehow winning. Maybe you can even mate him after he takes somehow, but yeah, it's definitely not so simple, but interesting. Yeah, so this move looks great because it threatens mate in 1. Yeah, let's just try it. Right, if he does this, I can just take, and yeah, he can't take back. I mean, he can, then I just take again, and I think I just win. Nice. Very nice. Back to 2500, guys. So, yeah. Yeah, something like this could also be a move, but then he can just defend in many ways. Like, yeah, this is not a good way, but he can block, he can push the pawn, and I don't really have anything. But yeah, this move threatens mate in 1 on this square. So he must do something about that, but it also uh, discolors this attack, this connection between the rooks. And so the knight also attacks that rook, so I can just take the rook, and then if he takes, I take again with the knight, and I'm just up a rook, so it's pretty great. And his king is still in danger, so yeah, once again, just the whole sequence. Yeah, pretty beautiful. Of course, I'm up a rook. The game is still not over, but yeah, I'm winning, so pretty nice. Right, so I don't want to comment because it seemed to be quite simple, and yeah, wow, plus 10 rating, so it really matters to get the puzzle correctly as quickly as possible. So I noticed in the previous episodes that I sometimes already decide on the solution, but then I spend some time explaining it to you guys, and of course that's fine, but what it does is it takes some more time before I submit the solution, and so I gain less rating even if I got the puzzle correctly. So now I'm trying to not comment before I get to the verdict, and once it's done, then I try to comment more. So this way I gain more rating, and yeah, you don't really lose anything. So yeah, so this position is quite cool. Always scanning for checks, and I have these 2 checks in this position. And yeah, I saw this check first, but then he goes here, and oh, he doesn't even have to go there. He can just go into the corner. And then I don't really have any follow-up. I have no more checks, and yeah, it's just not looking great. But if I have this check, then if he goes into the corner, this is mate immediately. I mean, I suppose I can show all of it on the analysis board. Yeah, so once again, like this just loses because he just goes to the corner and I have nothing. Well, apparently I at least get a queen, but and then it's a draw. So because I'm just up, I mean the material is equal after this, but yeah, I don't win. It's just a draw, but well, as you can see in the analysis. But yes, if I go here, this is just forced mate because it's a check by the knight. He can't capture the knight, so he must move the king. He can move it into these 2 squares. If he goes into the corner, this is mate immediately. He can't capture the bishop, and he has no squares to go to. And yeah, so it's just mate. But yeah, if he tries to go down as he did in the puzzle, then it's important to not try and check him like this. Then he can just capture the bishop, and it's lost. But yeah, the other check is just with the pawn, and that makes it so he can't capture the pawn because of the bishop. And my bishop also covers this square, and the knight covers this square, so he must go into the corner, and now the bishop just mates him. So Yes, a very, very beautiful puzzle. Let's keep going. Pink is just somehow forced mates. Okay, didn't expect him to go down. That makes me reconsider my whole sequence of calculation. Pretty bad of me. But this similar idea, I think. Yeah, and actually, what happens next is quite complicated. So, yeah, if he goes up, I thought of the same thing, but yeah, it's actually not so simple to mate him. Apparently, it's mate him far, so okay, let's try to figure it out. So, I saw this, and then I thought, like, if I do this, he can run, but I'm not sure if I can do something better. Right, and here I saw this, and then this, and then... Oh wait, I can just capture the rook. I can also check him here, so maybe both moves are winning, but probably this is simpler. He has to go down, then I check him this way, he has to go up again, and I mate him like this. Yes, so apparently, yeah, I made him somehow, but the whole calculation, it was difficult to see this many moves ahead, but I saw that his king would be running away towards the left side of the board, and yeah, I can somehow mate him, so yeah, once again, the solution was, yeah, I was calculating this check, but it it wasn't looking so great because if I do the same thing, I sack the rook, he takes, then I check him here, but uh, he just goes there, and I don't have any good follow-up. So because my only check would be, I mean, I guess I can show what I mean on the board. So I was looking at this check, and he does this. I go here, I take. I was looking at this, and oh, this just hangs the bishop, so I didn't even have that check. Yeah, so luckily I just deduced that the line is pretty bad for me, but yeah, apparently if he goes to the corner, I could have just done this, and yeah, and wow, mated him this way. But yeah, he can go down, and then I have nothing because this check is not a thing. So I guess I got lucky that I saw that this check wins for sure. So yeah, very nice puzzle. Damn, I was afraid that I might be missing something, but what could I be missing here? Oh, maybe it's better like this because it's check, he has to take, and then I collect the bishop. Yeah, so I win the rook anyway. I guess I don't win the rook, but I'm just up a knight and I'm up a pawn, so yeah, I suppose it's better. So yeah, but what is taking the rook just losing? I wonder. Apparently it's losing because he has this check and I can't stop the pawn. Damn, it's a discovery check. So if he didn't have this check, and I can't go towards the pawn because the pawn covers this square and the bishop covers this square, so I can't stop the promotion. Wow, so that's why it's losing. If he didn't have this check, it would be fine. As you can see, it's the only move which makes me lose. So wow, that's a very important difference because this is a check and he has to take my rook or he just loses, and I take the bishop, and he doesn't have this idea of discovery check and promoting. Wow, very beautiful. Yeah, it doesn't even feel bad to get this puzzle wrong because I mean the solution is just very beautiful and makes a lot of sense. Damn. Yeah, I was hoping this would be right. It seemed that somehow I can win material, but apparently it's incorrect. Yeah, maybe this makes more sense. Because, yeah, why does it make more sense? Right, so it's not so simple. So this doesn't work because he takes with the pawn. I thought that I take here. He takes with the queen and I take here and I'm hitting the queen and the bishop, but I guess he just moves the queen away anywhere and the bishop is protected, so it's just even. So it's always difficult to calculate when there are so many pieces and possible captures, but apparently if I take with the bishop, yes, then if he captures with the pawn, then I have this move, which is a huge problem, and yeah, it's not great for him. If he captures with the bishop, then apparently both of these moves win because of the same idea, the bishop or the knight. Yeah, if I take with the knight and he takes, then the same problem, but yeah, apparently here he has this. Yes, and somehow it's still winning. I mean, it's complicated. Yeah, I take the bishop, then I've taken a piece and the other piece is also under attack, so he can't both take my bishop and save his bishop, so I'm up a piece. It's quite complicated, but yeah, I suppose in such situations I should calculate longer and try to see some sequence in which I'm just up a piece, but yeah, it's quite difficult. Like in these puzzles when there are like two ways to capture, it's like even if you don't see the whole sequence, it's like 50-50. So and after the first move, like everything else is pretty clear. So actually, I'm not surprised to see the pass rate being like 47.5% because if I had just taken the bishop, like everything else is pretty clear. I mean, you have to pretty much just find this move that this is better than just taking because otherwise it's equal. So yeah, pretty much the first move is the most difficult, but yeah, definitely not a simple puzzle. So I saw this, and yeah, there's no way for him to stop the mate because his king can't move right now, and this is just checkmate. Wow, so very, very nice. And I was calculating what's the difference if I go for queen there and then right for queen there, and yeah, so I can show it here. The idea is that I want to go there with my rook and mate him, but I saw that he has this move which doesn't look that crazy. I mean, I could pick his queen off, but then he just takes with the rook and I no longer have mate. In fact, I'm just losing. So yeah, this queen move to h4 wouldn't work, and yeah, I saw this other check, and yeah, it's just the solution. Because the difference is that now if he goes check with the queen, you just go here and there's nothing he can do to prevent mate. Apparently he can sack all his pieces first, but yeah, there's nothing he can do to prevent this checkmate supported by the pawn. Very, very beautiful. Yes, a very nice puzzle. Let's keep going. Now, what is the difference? Feel like one of these moves is wrong. Well, obviously because it's a puzzle, but I don't see. I mean, maybe this is somehow more forcing, but I'm not sure. Like both of them seem winning, but clearly one of them must be wrong, and I don't see why. Like if I capture the rook, I mean, I guess then he can capture my bishop, and I can't capture his rook anyway, and I don't threaten mate. Yes, so I suppose that's why that would be incorrect. This is just forcing and yes, simplification. Yes, so quite an interesting position. Well, I have only one check, and it seems to be good because then he has to go to this square, and I can bring my bishop in, and later my queen in. So yeah, this first move is quite logical, and then here I can bring either the queen or the bishop, and yeah, the difference is interesting. So if I bring in the bishop, then well, either way. Yes, I was calculating first the queen here, and here there is an issue. He can just block with the queen, I think. If I go here, he just blocks with the queen. And then even if I add the bishop, he just takes, and then there's no mate. So yeah, that's the issue. And yeah, I mean I can take the rook, but it's not so simple. It's quite even. But yeah, if I bring the bishop in first, then he can't just block with the queen because obviously I would just take it. And if he goes with the rook, then yeah, if he blocks with the rook, I mean I could just take it and I'm up a rook, and this hangs. So yeah, so once again, if he blocks with the rook, I just take it. He has to take, and then I just take the rook. Yeah, so that's why he can't really block with anything, and so he must move his king. But then I bring my queen in and threaten mate. He must try and do something, block somehow, and whatever he does, I then material, and I'm just up a bishop and winning. So another pretty nice puzzle. Wow, so yeah, I took a big risk playing that pawn push so quickly, and it turned out to be much more complex than I initially thought. So the pawn push looked great because then my queen and my rook both attacked the rook, and yeah, his queen is under attack, and this double attack is on his rook. I completely didn't factor in that he can bring his bishop in, and it gets much more complicated. I could take the queen, and then if he takes my bishop, the problem is that if I recapture the rook, he just recaptures with the bishop and it's actually even. But if I recapture the bishop, I'm up a bishop and he can't take my rook because the other rook protects it. So it's really way more complicated than I initially expected. But yeah, like I really have no idea how people around my rating could reach the target time on such a puzzle. I mean, if they just see the move and they don't calculate and they just go for it, then sure. But to actually see the whole line with the best moves from both sides, it's actually quite difficult. And at least for me, it takes time. So yeah, I just think that the rating is kind of whatever. It's just important to try and understand the puzzles, and eventually you will get them quicker. So yeah, I'm not too concerned about the rating. So I suppose I should try and calculate more to really not blunder the first move I see and it's incorrect move. But yeah, I took a risk on this puzzle and it paid off. Alright, so the last puzzle is up. Let's get it, guys. Wow, so this was actually not so simple. So yeah, I was like looking, just take the rook. He can't really do much, and I'm also hitting the bishop. And yeah, I didn't calculate this move. I actually didn't consider that he might have such a good move, like hitting both my knight and the rook. But fortunately, I have this move defending both of these pieces. If I didn't have this move, yeah, maybe I wouldn't be winning. So I got a bit lucky, I suppose. But yeah, so it's pretty simple. If he takes the the bishop, I just take his bishop, and he doesn't really have anything. I'm just up a piece. Oh, once again, he has this move actually, and I have to find this move. So yeah, luckily for me, I can defend both my knight and my rook with the queen on d8, and I'm up a piece. Wow, so 4 puzzles in a row. I'm not sure if that ever happened in my series so far, but yeah, today has been a pretty good day actually. Yeah, 10 puzzles in, guys. Wow, pretty great streak, 4 in a row. And yeah, I think I will end it here. I thought maybe I should go for one more, but I think it's all right. I will try and come back tomorrow, and hopefully, if the streak continues, I continue doing quite well. And yeah, hopefully we reach 2600 sometime this year. Yeah, so that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you got this far into the video, I really appreciate it. If you liked the video, you can like the video on YouTube and also subscribe to my channel so you see when I post some new content. So that's all for today. Thank you so much once more, and I'll see you next time.